everyone. I'm Melissa Austin Weeks with Home with a Twist, and welcome to this episode of the Hostess Journal, where I share quick hosting tips, something fun, inspiring for living a joyful life and welcoming people into your home with gracious Southern hospitality. So today we're going to make one of my favorite easy recipes that you can make as an appetizer when you're having friends over. It's perfect for making the dough in advance and keeping it in the freezer. And if you have one of those, hey, we happen to be in the neighborhood, we would love to stop by and see you, it makes you just look like the prepared hostess, even if you just literally took it out of the freezer. So we're going to make cheesy Thumbprint cookies. Now, you may be familiar with the sweet version of a Thumbprint cookie, which happens to be my all-time favorite cookie recipe because it's just a very simple butter cookie recipe that you make a little indentation with your thumb, and you can fill it with anything. Frosting, vanilla, chocolate, strawberry. You can fill it with raspberry jam, peach jam, whatever your jam is. But this is a savory version, and the only difference really, instead of putting sugar into the cookie, is we're going to only use 3 ingredients: flour, butter, cheese. Really, it's 4 ingredients: flour, butter, cheese, and then your jam. And my husband, I like to call him Mr. Twist, made a batch of habanero jalapeno jelly from peppers from our garden, so we're going to be using that. If you're not a big hot person, you can choose. There are tons of varieties of pepper jelly that are mild, so you can adjust that according to your taste preference. So I have a food processor, which if you don't have one, that is not a problem at all. This just really helps to speed the process along for incorporating your butter into your flour. You can use a hand mixer or a standing mixer, but if you can ever get a good deal on a food processor, they're great for making salad dressings, for making pestos, anything where you need to maybe incorporate butter into flour, because it just does it speedy quick and you don't have to do it with a hand mixer. So I am going to put the link for the recipe at the bottom of the screen or at the bottom of the notes for the show. You can also go to homewithatwist.com and search the recipes tab and just input cheesy Thumbprint cookies with hot pepper jelly, and you'll find the recipes. You can print it off at home, so don't feel like you have to memorize the ingredients. All right, so what we're going to do is I have 2 cups of extra sharp cheddar cheese. And a little note about cheese is that I always shred it myself. I know that it's a time saver to buy it in the grocery store already shredded. You're paying a little bit more because obviously someone else is shredding it for you. But they also add a preservative coating to the cheese, which in my opinion affects the ability for the cheese to melt properly and thoroughly. It kind of almost is like a barrier. And I don't think you'll yield as good of results in your recipes if you use pre-shredded cheese. So this took me, I used a box shredder that looks like this. I mean, it took me a minute, 2 minutes to shred 2 cups of cheese. And what you get is just a really light, delicious cheese. The other tip is when a recipe calls for sharp cheddar cheese or just for cheddar cheese, is I always use extra sharp. I feel like it just really gives your dish more flavor. So consider those 2 options when you're shopping for cheese. All right, so all we're gonna do is we're gonna blend cheese, flour, and butter in the food processor until dough is a coarse meal texture and forms into a ball. So it's not gonna take long at all. Okay, so we're gonna put in our flour, and we're gonna put in our butter, which is 6 tablespoons of butter that I've cubed. And you're like, well, then why cube it if it's gonna get mixed up? Because it helps the food processor to not work as hard as if you cube it versus just sticking a whole one solid 6 tablespoons in the food processor. And now we're gonna add in our freshly shredded cheddar cheese. This is such an easy recipe, y'all. You could whip these up once a week. All right, we're gonna put the lid on to our food processor. And then it says to process it until it comes, until you make a coarse meal texture and it stays together. So we're going to do pulsing. You can kind of wash it because you want to make sure that you stop it before it gets past the point of being in a ball. Okay, I feel like all of our ingredients are incorporated now, so now I'm going to put on low and just see what happens, how long it takes. So everything is incorporated and it's making course meal, but what we're trying to get it to do is form a ball. So I think once I can feel it starting to form into a ball. You'll feel kind of a little bit of a different scent. There we go. I don't know if you can see how it's starting to come together. There we go. Okay. I mean, that took what, 30 seconds? And you just keep doing it until everything kind of starts to come into a ball. And now, literally, it's exactly what it did. So you're going to take your lid off. And you have this beautiful ball of dough that formed inside your food processor. Look at that. I'm going to take the blade off so I can collect a few more of the little pieces that broke off. I mean, how easy is that? So really, a food processor is a game changer in your kitchen. If you have a birthday coming up, or Mother's Day or something, or Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever occasion that you love to exchange or give gifts or receive gifts, look at that. It just made the most beautiful ball of dough for your Thumbprint cookies. Okay, so we're going to set that aside, and I'm going to move my food processor over off the counter. Always be super careful with the blade from your food processor. It is extremely sharp. I never put it in the dishwasher because I'm always worried that I may not be the one to empty the dishwasher and the person coming behind me may reach their fingers in and cut their fingers. So I always wash this by hand in the sink, and I put it right back into the bucket that I keep all of my processor parts. Okay, now we have our cookie sheet that I have lined with parchment paper. I love to buy parchment paper that's already cut into sheets. It just makes it so much easier, and they sell it in the grocery store. All right, so I'm going to get my lid off of my pepper jelly. Oh, it smells so good. My husband made lots of jam this fall. It was kind of like one of his little hobbies that he really got into it. And he made, hold on just one second. He made blueberry jam, he made strawberry jam, he made peach bourbon jam. We made the habanero jam. We made peach habanero jam. Y'all, and we gave a lot of it as Christmas gifts. Okay, so next you're going to wrap your dough in plastic and refrigerate it for 30 minutes. This makes it easier to work with. Well, for this purpose, we're not going to do that. We're going to shape the dough into 11 1-inch balls and place the dough 1 inch apart on the sheet. So I'm just going to do this by it. And so we're just going to roll it up like this in a little. I'm going to make mine kind of small. I'm going to a party this evening, and I want there to be a lot. So if people want to have more than one, I'm just going to make them. These are probably about a 1 inch. Really, I don't think you need to chill this dough, but what you could do with the dough is if you wanted to make it and you're maybe trying to save time, is that you could make it ahead of time for a party and just keep it wrapped in your refrigerator for probably, all it has is flour, butter, and cheese. So I think you could probably keep this in your refrigerator for up to a week. And then after that, you're probably going to want to use the dough. But this is a last minute recipe. I mean, I don't have it happen very often that people will call and say, hey, I'm in the neighborhood. But I mean, it does happen. Or if, this is the other thing, I'm retired now, so I don't really have to worry about this much. I'm kind of going back now and making some of these a little bit bigger. You know how you commit to something on a Monday because you're just coming off the weekend, you're rested, and then by the time that, let's say Thursday night, that you invited everybody from work to come over and have a little appetizer before they head off home, you wake up Thursday morning, you're like, oh shoot, I forgot I'm inviting all my friends over. Well, this is the perfect recipe. Make this on a Monday when you have all that energy. Put it in the refrigerator, put the dough in the refrigerator. And then on Thursday when you get home from work, you could pop these in the oven. It's going to make your house smell amazing, like you just spent a lot of time. And so you're thinking, well, what else could I serve with this? So what you could do is you could buy canned mixed nuts. Trader Joe's has tons of different nut options. You could put these on a wooden board with nuts. Some, because you know, people, when they come for a little happy hour, they don't want a lot. They, if anything, they just want a glass of wine or a glass of sparkling water with a lemon or lime twist. And then they just want a little nibble, you know, before they go and commit to dinner or going home and seeing their family. So I would put these on a cheese board, these cookies, with a can of nuts from your favorite grocery store. Mine for parties is Trader Joe's or Aldi. And maybe the nuts have some kind of special seasoning in them. Trader Joe's also really makes a good spiced pecan that's nice. And then I would put maybe, what else would I do? Maybe some strawberries. And what else could you do for just a quick little appetizer? Maybe a ranch dip with a little bit of celery sticks or carrot sticks. You could do, got a really good recipe for some spiced crackers and some grapes maybe. And you're fine. That's all you need. All right, I've got all of these out. I've got one more I can put onto my sheet. And these aren't going to spread because there's not anything in them like baking soda or baking powder that are going to make them spread. All right, so all you're going to do is you're just going to take your finger and make a little indentation that looks like that inside of the cookie. You're just trying to make a little vessel that's going to hold the little bit of, oh, I know the other thing I was going to say. I couldn't think of it for your board is dried apricots. Dried apricots are so good on a cheese board because it adds just a little bit of sweetness. And then the other thing I would do is maybe just get a bar of dark chocolate and break that up into pieces, or maybe some salted dark chocolate and put that out. You're balancing the sweet with the savory. Okay, so we're going to shape these into dough, and you're not going to put your jam in until after they come out of the oven. You're going to do 5 minutes. Oh, shoot. Okay, this is the thing, is I didn't read the recipe clearly before I walked it through with you because I'm talking. That's one of the hosting tips, is to not be distracted. This actually says to bake for 5 minutes, remove from the oven, then put your indentation in the cookie and spoon in 1 teaspoon of pepper jelly. Okay, so we're just going to see what happens. I'm going to put it in, bake it for 5 minutes with a hole in it. So what do they say? do as I say, don't do as I say. I don't know what that saying is. Okay, so we're going to cook those for about 5 minutes. And then we're going to get them out and we're going to put the pepper jelly in. The whole point is you don't want these to be like super golden brown like you would for a real cookie, like if you're going to bake a chocolate chip cookie. You just want the edges to be a little golden brown. That way you know that everything is baked up. I mean, there's not anything in here that you need to worry about in terms of food safety, so that makes it a really easy recipe. And most people, if you know that you're going to be serving a guest who's gluten-free, this obviously you'd want to use gluten-free flour, which in my opinion has really come a long way. And gluten-free flour is an equal measure to regular flour. And places like Whole Foods, I mean, they all have gluten-free flour. But if you really want to get a good one, I love King Arthur, and I love Bob's Red Mill. Make really good gluten-free flour. So let's talk a little bit about one of my favorite. I just got this in the mail, and let me show it to you while we're waiting for the cookies to bake. Believe it or not, this is a melamine tray. I got it from a company called Sabavi Home, S-A-B-A-V-I, Home. And it is part of their Beatrice Ball collection, which is a designer of beautiful home goods. And it has this gorgeous, reminiscent to me of hobnail edging. I love it because this kind of tray is a workhorse for your hosting because there are so many things you can do with it. I mean, obviously, we're going to use it as a serving piece to put my cookies. I'm going to be making some sausage balls later, but you can also use this as a serving tray when you want to serve someone breakfast in bed. You want to serve yourself something in bed. I just love this. You could put a placemat over it with a mug of coffee and a beautiful piece of toast or a muffin and a beautiful napkin, maybe a little vase of flowers. I mean, this would make a great Mother's Day gift because you could not only serve it to her, but it's her gift to keep afterward. And it is labeled on the back. It's 100% melamine, but it's a really nice heavyweight melamine. So that is what we're going to put all of our appetizers on for the evening. And the reason I love white, and this is a trick from Ina Garden, the reason I love white is because your food is the star. I don't have anything against a colored piece, a brightly colored piece of Serveware, but the food kind of gets lost on it. And if you're really wanting to impress your guests and make them look like you spent a lot of time putting something together, which we've done this in another 15 minutes, is invest in some white platters and white trays, white bowls, white casserole dishes. If you're starting over, if you're just wanting to clean out your kitchen because you've had everything since you were married 30 years ago and you're ready for some new pieces, you can invest in Sabavi has a really nice line of white serving pieces, casserole dishes, mixing bowls, salad bowls, and then you can start with all white, and regardless of what your linen colors are, it all matches, it all coordinates. So we have about 1 minute left, and then I'm going to show you how to put the jelly inside each of the cookies, and then we'll just sign off and you can pop them back in the oven and finish baking them for about 5 more minutes. As I said, the recipe will be linked below in the notes. You can also go to homewithatwist.com and search the recipes tab for cheesy thumbprint cookies with hot pepper jelly. And I encourage you to go to my website. I have lots of fun recipes and inspiration for holidays and entertaining and hosting tips, sometimes some special stories. If you're new to me, Home with a Twist, I started probably about 18 years ago as a tribute to my mother. And then she passed away in 2013. So it really became a love letter to my mother of everything she has taught me growing up from the time I was old enough to stand at her apron strings in the kitchen until now as a 61-year-old mother with a grown daughter. I have over 40 years of hosting experience, both professionally and personally. And everything my mother has taught me has gone into serving. My love language is serving others. And so this has been a perfect opportunity for me to provide you with gracious hospitality tips that came from my mom, because her whole philosophy was to serve with intention and not perfection. And that's what I believe too. I mean, obviously I messed up the recipe, so I'm not that perfect. All right, so we're gonna get the cookies out. And I made the mistake of doing the whole first. It didn't interfere at all with the cookies, so we're good. I don't want to set a hot cookie sheet down on my table countertop, so I'm going to use my little trivet that's heat proof. All right, so what we're going to do now is I'm just going to get my measuring spoon, and we are just going to very gingerly. You're not going to need much because I made, you can adjust these for how big your, see, that was too much. I made these cookies really small because I wanted to have enough for my guests, but you're only wanting to fill the hole. I put too much in that one. Oh, these are going to be so pretty. Now, if you have a garden, or you have a neighbor who has a garden that doesn't mind if you borrow things, I would put these on a platter, and then I would garnish the platter with some fresh herbs from the garden, just to add a little bit of color in. Maybe some rosemary or some thyme. If you're in a season where your flowers are blooming and you don't use pesticides in your yard, which I really encourage you not to. I know you want to get rid of those pests, but the pesticides really impact the ability for your honeybees to pollinate. Anyway, if you have flowers growing, you can use zinnias, marigolds are edible actually. So are nasturtiums. Nasturtium buds are actually capers. So you can add color to your platter with edible flowers. And you can Google what are edible flowers, and if you're just now starting out with building a garden, I would suggest you do an edible garden or a cocktail garden. Cocktail garden's fun because that means that you would be pulling herbs from your garden that you could actually use in your cocktails. Like, for example, mint is a good one, rosemary. All right, these are going to be just. Now, I was able to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 24. So 2 dozen from that recipe. So plan accordingly if you think you're going to serve more. And I would probably plan on 2 per person. So this will probably give you enough servings for 12 people. If you think you want to have more than that, and maybe this is not going to be the only thing you're going to serve, you could kind of adjust that. But for tonight at the little get together, I'm going to have sausage balls, which you can also find on my recipe. It's a twist on my mother's traditional cheese sausage balls. Instead of using shredded cheese, we use pimento cheese, specifically palmetto pimento cheese. And the twist is it's just 3 ingredients. I use Jimmy Dean sausage. You mix that with a box of Red Lobster Cheddar Bay cheese biscuit mix, the dry mix, and I think it's either an 8 or 12 ounce container. This recipe is on my website, homeofthetwist.com. Just search sausage balls. Pimento cheese, sausage, and then the box of Cheddar Bay biscuit mix. You mix all of that together into small little bite-sized balls, and you cook them, I think, at 400 degrees for 20-25 minutes. Gosh, they are so good. They're great to pre-bake and keep in your freezer. And again, when your guests come by, you could have these, the sausage balls, a thing of nuts, and maybe some sliced apricots. All right, we're going to put these back in for another 5 minutes. And we're going to sign off now. So be sure to give me a follow at homewithatwist.com. You can sign up for my emails. I usually send emails maybe about once a month. And go over onto Instagram and follow me at Home with a Twist on Instagram, where I share exclusive content and fun ideas for joyous living and every day. Y'all take care, and I'll see you next time.